Welcome to Wanna Bet, the daily gambling game show that takes betting seriously, but not much else. Get our favorite plays on the totals, sides, props, exotics, and futures to jump on now.
So let's get it started with Jason and Ben. Let's get it started with Jason and Ben. Let's get it started with Jason and Ben. Satte kassen kere konsol bappa konsol felina. Let's get it started with Jason and Ben. Let's get it started with Jason and Ben.
Welcome to Wanna Bet. I'm Jason. That's Ben. Hopefully everything's good. And it is an NFL Sunday, which means, Ben, I'm biting all three lobsters for good luck because I'm transparent to a fault. NFL Sundays have not been great for me. Beltway Ben, he's been crushing it. NFL the Mondays, the Thursdays, Sunday nights, yeah, I've been really good there. NFL Sundays haven't been great for me. So hopefully the three lobster bite at the start of the show will suffice there. If you're new to this show, we cover a lot of terrain here in a short period of time. First, second, third down, our three favorite, or maybe a little more than three favorite, plays that we made. Fourth down's a chance to get you paid quickly. Short, fourth and short, quick hitters in games, or fourth and long, maybe longest reception, maybe long-term bets like a future, maybe long shot bets. Overtime, football and football season, we give you soccer or football parlays every single day in overtime. And we also show our work. This morning, not great for me in the Prem. Good day in soccer yesterday overall. We did not hit either the Liverpool first half over or the Aston Villa half full parlay. However, on Twitter at halftime, we said jump the villains minus 138 on the money line at the half, and they did the job. They win 1-0. So we at least got some money back there. Bayern Munich, boy, that's a Hall of Fame case that they're making, Beltway Ben. To get our guy Luis Diaz and Jackson to both score in added time, to cover the 1.5, to draw, to push on the -2, and the -1 live bet plus 145 to cash for us. That was huge. Thank you, Bayern Munich. We got a bunch of late goals from our guy Thiago, and Brentford went over the 3.5 and the 2.5 like we thought it would. Got Raptors fell apart on me last night. And look, the Elon didn't hit. I told you I was giving out the Elon money line because my favorite play of the day yesterday in college basketball didn't have a line yet. That was UNC Wilmington against Gardner-Webb. I said I would play it all the way up to 27. They ended up basically covering the 27. It opened at -19.5. We told you on Twitter, jump that -19.5 with our UNC Wilmington Seahawks. So not a great day yesterday. Could have been worse. Should have been better. Beltway Ben, you destroyed the game. Ohio State, Michigan.
Yeah, very good showing there. We did put Ohio State -9.5. We had Michigan's team total under. We played it a bunch of different ways. And then we also put a half a unit on a plus 650. Michigan to not score a touchdown. First play of the game on offense for Michigan, 36-yard run. I'm like, uh-oh. Then they get another first down. I'm like, all right, well, this might be done soon, but it's only half a unit. Then I'm like, oh, they hold them to a field goal. Okay, this could keep going. Julian Sand throws a pick on a second pass of the game, puts them at the 25, and I'm like, oh, this is going to go bad every single possible way. But Ohio State is the far better team. Takes over. Ben don't break defense early, and then the second half, we're just swarming Bryce Underwood. Ohio State's a far better team, and I said time and time again throughout yesterday's show, I don't think the game stays close. I'm just not buying that with the way that these two teams are built right now, and I understood all the talk about Ryan Day not being able to do it, but he finally did, and he's still one of the best coaches in college football. They said he couldn't win a national championship as well. He did that last year, and Michigan just did you see them blocking the logo after getting their asses whooped? Like, I understand the pride there or whatever, but, like, you just got embarrassed. Like, and you planted a flag last year. It was embarrassing showing for Michigan. We had James Harden late last night get us over 8.5 assists. Kansas State's offense goes right down the field, scores 7 points on Colorado. I'm like, all right, this will be real good. And they proceed to score, like, 17 more points. A majority of those were late in that game. We also cashed the college football parlay. I told you guys Alabama would win that game. That was the one that really got us to the plus money. Alabama, Oklahoma, and Ohio State. That was a plus money play to cash for us there to offset that Kansas State.
Excellent. Beltway Ben chugging along, humming over 50 units in the 6 months we've done this show. I keep hanging right around the Mendoza line there, trying to cash for you guys better than I have lately. And hey, let's get to it. Let's get it started today. There is an NBA play I like here. Beltway Ben on first down. Give me the Blazers catching 12.5 at home against OKC. The Blazers haven't been as good as I thought they would be, but they've also played a brutal schedule, Beltway Ben. They're 5-0 against the spread as a home dog, but they haven't played that much at home. I mean, the schedule's been brutal. 8 of their last 11 are on the road. They've played some of the best teams in the NBA in that span. However, they're 8-3 against the spread as a dog overall. OKC had a point in time where it looked like they were gunning for 70 wins. It looked like they wanted to blow everybody out of the gym. They covered 7 of 8 in a stretch in October. That slowed down, Beltway Ben. They're 2-5 against the spread, are the Thunder in their last 7. They're only 5-7 against the spread this season as a favorite of 10 points or more. Portland likes to play old school basketball at home. They like to beat you up. They like to slow it down. And they like to keep it close. And I just think this is a spot here with them finally getting off the road, having a chance to maybe catch OKC in a little bit of a down spell. Yeah, I like it. Look, OKC smashed them by 27 earlier in the year. Maybe OKC comes in thinking this is going to be easy peasy. It's just too many points for me here for a Blazers team that's been really good in these spots at home, really since going back to the All-Star break last year. So give me the Blazers plus 12.5.
I'm going to go here with Breece Hall. We will play him over 99.5 rushing and receiving yards. And I'd also play him over 72.5 rushing yards. Facing a Falcons team, Breece Hall, all of a sudden, we're trying to get him the ball in the passing game. It took a while.
Finally.
It's a long damn time, but they're finally letting him do what he can do in the passing game. And it's crazy because Isaiah Davis, I get it. You need a third down back, stuff like that. Breece Hall can do that. And he is the only piece on this offense that's really still respectable. He's the focal point of the offense right now with the way things are going. Since week 6, you have a Falcons defense, 55.6% success rate against the run. That is the bottom 8 in the NFL. Then they're also bottom 6 in defensive rush EPA. Let's look what running backs have done just on the ground. Jonathan Taylor, 244 rushing yards when they played them weeks ago. Travion Henderson, 55. He also had like 33 receiving in that game. Devon Achane, 67. Also had 20-plus receiving. CMC, 129, had 80-plus receiving. These guys are abusing them in the passing game and the run game, and that's been the way to beat the Falcons, who in other areas have been fine defensively. This is a winnable game, so the Jets should be using the running back. And Aaron Glenn wants to win games. This isn't a team that's purposely tanking. Last week they were head-to-head with the Ravens, and if Breece Hall doesn't fumble inside the 5, I'm not 100% sure the Ravens win that game, to be completely honest with you. It's going to be cold in New York. You don't want Tyrod Taylor chucking the ball 45 times. And in his dropbacks, you probably want some easy throws to Breece Hall because they've really been in your favor over the past 4 weeks. As I said, they're starting to use him in the passing game more. It took long enough. For a while, Isaiah Davis was out snapping him on passing downs. That's not the case anymore since the past 4 weeks. So Breece Hall has also been outspoken. Give me the ball. I want to do more, especially with where we're at right now. Give me Breece Hall over 99.5 rushing and receiving at minus 115 and over 72.5 rushing at minus 110.
Look, I made a play on Breece Hall receiving yards. I didn't give it out on the show. It was left on the cutting room floor. But Beltway Ben, I also think Tyrod Taylor's smart enough to know, unlike Fields, who just wants to extend things, to when to get it out of his hands and just throw it to.
Fields would not throw the ball.
Let the running back do the work.
Yeah.
Let him take the hits.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Cosign, I'm on it for a unit. Second down for me. Matt Stafford is basically an auto play at this point in time. And Matt Stafford against a decent Panthers defense, but not a great one. A Panthers defense that's playing on short rest, having just played a long game where they were on the field a ton against San Francisco, at San Francisco on Monday night. And no J.C. Horn. Their number one corner is gone. You saw what happened when he left that game after another interception of Brock Purdy. All of a sudden, Purdy could kind of do whatever he wanted. Now, it was a conservative approach because the kid was hell-bent on throwing interceptions. But you look at what he could do to Pearsall, what he could do to Kittle. I just think there was a lot available to him. Stafford, a much better quarterback in much better form. Stafford's throwing for over 250 a game. That's a conservative number. Even when McVay is taking the foot off the gas, I'm not sure it's going to be the slam shot, by the way, where they win by 21 or whatever. I mean, I'm fine with it. I hope it is. I'm not sure it's going to be that. He's thrown for 250 or more in 3 of his last 4. He's been consistently for the season going over 250. He's also thrown 27 straight touchdowns without an interception, Beltway Ben. He's thrown 30 passing touchdowns on the year. Devontae Adams is a touchdown machine. He's got 9 in his last 5 alone. I don't know who's guarding him. I don't know who's guarding Puka Nacua. Carolina has allowed 18 passing touchdowns already this year. Not a crazy amount, like not as crazy as like Cincinnati, but you know, it's almost 2 a game. And I just think that the Rams are going to throw all over these guys to get a lead and then take the air out of the ball. I mean, what does Carolina do the most of? They play almost 50% cover 3. Matt Stafford's completing 74% of his passes for 8.5 yards per attempt and a QB rating of 109 against cover 3. And did I mention again, no J.C. Horn? So for the Spotifyers and Apple Bottom, Stafford to throw for 250 and 3 passing touchdowns. The 2, they're not giving you the 2 anymore. The 2, you got to really, really want it. We're going to take it up to 3, plus 198. When I played this yesterday, it was plus 225. The value is fading.
We usually like to go back to guys that are good to us and cash when we bet them. And Gunnar Helm has been a cash cow for me on this show. I've played him in alt markets. We've taken him down. We've actually taken him up to 25 one game. And I was kicking myself because he wasn't going to go over it. Cam Ward hits him down the sideline, down 40 points in a game, and cashes for us. So when guys cash for you, you don't go away for them. Gunnar Helm over 24.5 receiving yards at minus 110. Chigakonko, another week where he's questionable. He was limited. He missed a practice. He was limited again. And I'm like, oh, if he doesn't play, Gunnar Helm's going to eat this week. Well, Chig's playing. He came out last night from Schefter. Chig will play. The Jags are allowing 87 receiving yards to tight ends over their last 6 games. That's the second most in the NFL. And they're just not very good against tight ends. Now, wide receivers, they've done fine trying to limit them. And there's some other areas. They are not good against tight ends. And that has been an issue all season long. I know I always cut things down 6 weeks around there somewhere, like sometimes we'll do 5, but when you look at something that's been happening all year and then you cut it down to the 6 or 7 weeks, it's still a big number. I like to attack those because it usually means it's consistent, and that's what we've seen with the Bengals. We've attacked the Bengals tight ends against the Bengals in every single week, and it's cashed for us. Cam Ward's improving as the season goes on. He had one of his best games last week, and Gunnar Helm was on the field more snaps than he ever has been and running a bunch of routes. He had 6 catches, 51 yards last week, and he's cleared this number in 2 straight games. I understand it's a little bit of a trend. Can he clear it in 3 straight? I think so because you're facing a bad defense. And Chig will get some targets, right? 4 to 5 targets Chig will probably get. But Gunnar Helm is right there with him in target share. And I do expect Cam Ward to be comfortable with his rookie tight end. They're both young guys. They've worked well together. And as I said before, best week we've seen from Cam Ward last week. And a lot of that was going to Gunnar Helm. 6 for 51. Yeah. So give me Gunnar Helm over 24.5 receiving yards at minus 110.
I like it. Guy's been very good to me, who I had to go back to the well on, is Jacoby Brissett. He's not there to hand the ball off. He's there because he won the job from Kyler Murray, and they're chucking the ball around, and they can't run the ball. So this is what they do. And they're facing a Tampa Bay defense that's elite in success rate against the run, but cannot stop the pass. So we're going to play Jacoby Brissett, at least 35 pass attempts and at least 275 passing yards, plus 165. We're taking touchdowns out of the equation. That's got us a little bit of trouble lately. And we're just really honing in here on the volume and the efficiency. Beltway Ben, he's got 80 completions in his last 2 games. Like, he's averaged 315 a game over his last 3, and I do think he throws for 300 here, but we're playing at 275. I got on this a couple days ago. I've been watching the markets closely. That 35, you got to fight to find it now. And a lot of places have 34 at like minus 378 and then 36 attempts at like minus 150. It's a huge drop off. I think 35 is the magic number here, and I'm very comfortable with it. That's why we're still finding it here. He's over 36 attempts in 5 of his last 6. Tampa's passing defense since week 5, Beltway Ben, 1,928 yards allowed, 31st in the NFL. It's 275 a game. 8.2 per attempt. That's 30th. I just think Baker Mayfield's going to play through an injury, and they've got to get their passing game going. And it's an Arizona defense that has been fading a little bit lately. I think Arizona's got nothing to lose. Gannon is 15-30 as a head coach. If the best thing we do is chuck the ball around, let's chuck the ball around. And Brissett's in great form right now. Tampa's really good against tight ends. I stayed off of McBride this week. I think the Michael Wilson kid goes off. Harrison doesn't trust me, but if you made me pick a receiver, I think the Wilson kid goes off here. Look, I've been looking at BetQL models lately, paid to subscribe to their service. Their computer model likes Brissett over 300 yards in this game, and I'm inclined to believe it as well. There's other ways you could think about playing this. If you want to get the touchdowns involved, I would understand. If you want to go and play it over 23 completions, something like that, I would get it. I think he probably has 25 completions in this game. But Brissett, 275 passing yards, 35 or more attempts, plus 165.
Here we're going to attack a spot that I think should just be big offense all night. We're going to play RJ Harvey over 55.5 rushing yards at minus 110. Last time they were out, it was against the Chiefs, and he had 11 for 30, led the backfield in carries, but it was a heavy passing game for Bo Nix. And that Chiefs game was very odd. It was up and down. You're playing from behind. They really didn't hold a set lead to run the clock there until the end. McLaughlin also got 6 carries. I don't expect that to be the case tonight. This is a Commanders defense that sucks against the pass. They suck against the run, and Sean Payton knows that. I think they'll be throwing the football all across the field against them, and they'll also be able to take advantage of a bad run defense, right? The interior defensive line's banged up. They had a 54.2% success rate against the run for the last 6 weeks, and in that time, that's bottom 4 in the NFL. At some point, to me, I think they're up 2 to 3 scores, and it's hand the football off and let RJ Harvey just do some things, right? You draft him where you did. You want to show what he can do. And this is a team in the Commanders that have allowed a lot of long carries and 55.5 rushing yards on a carry of 20 plus. You're in a really, really good spot. Does he get 11 carries? I think it'll be more like 15 to 20 in that range, because I think they could be up so many points where late in the game, you're just letting the young back kind of figure some things out. This is a different type of game because it's prime time and they should be up big. And I know Bo Nix is throwing the ball 37, 40 times a game. I get that. But with this matchup, the Commanders are awful. They haven't kept anything close. And even if they do keep this one close, to be quite honest with you, Harvey can still clear this because somehow the Commanders offense is able to keep up with the Broncos. I know we've seen some ugly showings from the Broncos offense on prime time, but I don't expect that tonight against a Commanders defense that struggles in all facets.
Love it. And we don't link this up, but it takes me right to 4th down. And we're going to call it 4th and long because I'm going a little long on this game. And I like the long reception from Cortland Sutton over 20.5 yards at minus 120. He's got a reception of 21 yards or more in 4 of his last 5 games. Since week 5, Beltway Ben, the Commandos are allowing 4 passing plays of 20 yards or more per game. And this is a Denver team and Bo Nix, who's been really good on the road in his career, who finished last year throwing a bunch of touchdown passes and chucking the ball around. And I think this is off of long rest, a good get-right spot for him. Washington, since week 5, is allowing 3 passing plays of 25 yards or more per game. And I don't know that they can really stop Sutton. He's going to find holes in that cover 1 and cover 3 they love to play. It's pretty predictable, and I think Sean Payton is going to use this as a get-right spot. So we also like Cortland Sutton to have at least 4 receptions for at least 60 yards plus 116 in this game. He's done it in 7 of 11 games this year, and he's done it religiously against bad defenses. The only time it doesn't happen is when they're facing somebody like the Texans. This ain't the Texans. It's Bo Nix's favorite go-to guy against the defense that's last in the league in opposer passer rating allowed. That's allowing 9 yards per attempt. And that also, Beltway Ben, in 4 of the last 5 games have allowed 3 or more passing touchdowns. 22 passing touchdowns allowed on the year. And we like Bo Nix to throw for 3 at plus 350. He did it on the road earlier this year against Indianapolis. He's 4-1 in his career in prime time. He hasn't shrunk from that assignment. and don't get carried away by what the Commandos look like against Tua and that pop gun pass game in Madrid in a weird spot. Everything before that was disastrous, and I think this is a chance for Sean Payton to prop Bo Nix up and let him feel good about himself, complete some passes against a bad red zone defense. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something here on this Commanders game, but they have no pass rush. Denver's got an elite offensive line that allows almost no pressure. And Denver's also going to give Bo Nix some short fields because they're going to turn Washington over. And they got Surtain back, and Washington's offensive line isn't great, and Mariota's all Meshuggah. So I think he's going to start a drive or two in the red zone or close to it. So that's where we are in fourth down, Ben.
Yeah, for me, we fudge things around here. You know what I'm saying? We do stuff
Do what
how
you gotta
we
do.
like. You chuck
Trying to serve the
whatever.
people.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're trying to do. But no, I
Bite the
came up.
lobster.
I came up with this for fourth and long. Does it have anything to do with long? No, it's just weird. And when I find weird plays that I like, I usually put them in fourth and short, fourth and long, things like that. It's just a team total. It's not that weird. It's a team totals rushing over because I don't know who to choose today for this Bucs offense. They're all over the place. We know Bucky Irving's coming back. Sean Tucker has looked amazing. Shout out to Sean Tucker. He played in the MIA from Baltimore. He's looked awesome. Rachaad White, in the carries he's gotten, he's been fine. I don't know who was going to beat the Cardinals, but I know somebody will. This is a defense that's bottom 5 in success rate against the run. They've been damn good against the pass, though. Baker's banged up. You don't want him chucking the football across the field. Now, if it's his call, he will be. But I do expect them to keep the ball on the ground, and their passing defense has been awful. You mentioned it before. Jacoby Brissett can be chucking the ball across the field, and they can win a shootout against this Bucs team with how they are right now. So in my opinion, you want to shorten the game, make the clock run, let the guys run the football, and you have so many different weapons. Now, it's going to be a snap count. They already talked about he's not going to have a ton of carries, but Bucky Irvin, when he is in there, you'll know he's in. I mean, he's explosive back, does things well in the passing game too, but when running the football has always been tough. Sean Tucker, as we've talked about, clears 100. I mean, he's cleared this number in a multiple games. Last year he had a few games. This year he had one. And then Rachaad White, as I said, he's probably not going to get as many carries with as crowded as the backfield is now in Bucky Irving's return. I just expect Bucky Irving and Tucker to be able to get us to 114 plus, and then anything, or even Baker gives us. I know Baker, it's hard to expect him to run with the injuries he's dealing with. He is just a tough dude. Like, if something's in front of him with open field, he will be taking off. And it's not the smartest, but I always respect Baker for how tough he is. I think he could give us 5 to 10 rushing yards in this game. And he's also smart with sliding. So Tampa Bay Buccaneers over 113.5 total rushing yards at minus 120.
Excellent. All right. Overtime. I've got triple overtime today. We'll start at overtime. Josh Allen and Brock Purdy to each throw a pick plus 249. Have I dabbled on Allen and Purdy both to throw multiple picks? You're missing out, Spotifyers and Apple Bottoms. But I'm answering you. Josh Allen has thrown a pick in 3 straight games in 6 of his last 8. He's playing undisciplined hero ball right now. And when you play hero ball without a number one go-to receiver, either a wide receiver or a tight end, boy, it tends to bring out the worst in you. He was sacked 8 times by Houston last week, and now his offensive line is even more beat up. He's going to Pittsburgh. That D-line doesn't feast all the time, but when they feast real good. Pittsburgh's got 8 picks in home games already this season, and Allen's going to throw some up for grabs here. His turnover-worthy throws are spiking. Some bad habits are setting in. Much like Lamar Jackson, he looks a little frustrated right now. Balls are coming in too hot. He's over boogieing. And I think he's going to need some volume today because I think Pittsburgh's going to move the ball on the ground against the Bills like everybody else and maybe score some points at home. So, and then Purdy, I mean, have you watched him play? He's got multiple picks in 3 of his 4 games. Mac Jones played better than him, might be better than him at 1/60th the paycheck, and he knows it. Not bringing out the best in him. He's got 7 picks in 4 games on the season. Brock Purdy in his career against the AFC, Beltway Ben, is 4-7. He's thrown 14 picks in those 11 games. Cleveland defense at home. Myles Garrett chasing a sack record. We'll get to that in a second. Bad weather. Ooh. Beat up offensive line. Yeah. We like that. Double overtime. Myles Garrett to get a sack. Cleveland plus 10.5. and San Francisco under 24 points, plus 150. Garrett is about minus 250 to get a sack. I think he could get more than one. I don't think he's going to see Trent Williams at all. I think Jimmy Schwartz going to let him move around and find whatever weak spot he likes in that San Francisco O-line. And when he finds it, look out. The Browns are an elite defense overall, especially at home. I mentioned that Purdy's peeing down his leg. Like, you can go back to the Green Bay game. You want to try to beat the Browns just funneling everything through a running back like Green Bay did with Jacobs. Good luck with that against this defense. Oh, yeah, go look at San Francisco's passing defense since Warner got hurt. There's a reason Ben and I like Bryce Young so much on Monday night on the road in prime time where he sucks. It's not because of Bryce Young. It's because of San Francisco's defense. Sanders will chuck the ball around. 50-50 balls. San Francisco doesn't get any picks. Like, all of a sudden, Judy's got life. Like, those two move tight ends with no linebackers who can cover. I think that's going to be a problem. And San Francisco is not really scoring points on the road. And their better quarterback's going to be watching from the sideline. So, Garrett to get a sack. Browns plus 10.5. I've also played this at Browns plus 7.5. And San Francisco under 23.5 points for plus 150. And then triple overtime. We're just going to play around with lines on a couple games we love. We mentioned the Rams. We don't know about covering 10. But how about the Rams minus 5.5 and the Seahawks against the Vikings team where they're playing an undrafted free agent rookie at quarterback? We'll take Seattle minus 9.5 and the Rams minus 5.5 plus 131.
Yeah, I've got a number of plays here for overtime today. As you all know, we like to throw a lot of extra stuff in on these days because it's just kind of where we are. First off, your two Cortland Sutton plays earlier. I forgot to throw up Meaty. I told you before the show. Like, I know I'm on Harvey, but I think it's going to be a pretty heavy offensive game for the Broncos against just an awful Commanders defense with how banged up they are and everything. But we're going to play a few different things. We will play one parlay, and the majority of everything else is just straight up plays that we like that I wanted to fit in here today. Breece Hall, 50-plus rushing yards. Kyron Williams, 50-plus rushing yards. And Ashton Jonty, 40-plus. Listen, Olsen takes over as the Raiders offensive coordinator, and we will get to that a little bit more in a second with Brock Bowers. When you look at the offenses that he's called since, being a play caller and being an offensive coordinator, it's been a lot of running backs running the football and tight ends catching the football. That's been kind of his forte. I know the Chargers' run defense is pretty good, but they got to try to get something going with Jonty. They've been pretty outspoken. They want to get it going with him. And Chip Kelly is just a fraud. It's hard to watch anything with him. I know he probably will be back at Ohio State as an offensive analyst, trying to figure things out as things always go. Kyron Williams, 50-plus. The Panthers' run defense, bottom half of the NFL. I think Kyron should be able to run for 50. I liked his regular number. Before this parlay, I just wanted to bring it down. And then Breece Hall, 50-plus. Talked about it earlier. We were on his regular number. I think it's going to be a massive day for Breece Hall on the ground, catching the football, all of those different things. So we're going with three running backs here, plus 125. Now, talked about Olsen and his play calling and his pass as a play caller and all of those different things. We'll play two tight end props for his squad today. And I get it. When you look at what the Chargers have done defensively, they take tight ends away. Totally get that. That's fine, though, because Brock Bowers is a different type of guy. You can line him up outside. And the smartest thing for Geno Smith, to be quite honest with you, especially since trading Jacoby Myers, is getting the damn football to your best tight end. And for some reason, they haven't figured that out yet this year. But I think Olsen might force that a little bit. Some screens, things like that to Bowers, like we saw last year, which for some reason we've yet to see this season. Brock Bowers, over 56.5 receiving yards at minus 110, and over 5.5 receptions, which you can get at minus 135. I talked about it. Like, if they're throwing screens to him, he's going to go over the receptions, getting him the ball a lot of different ways. But the one good thing about Bowers, he can beat you so many different ways. Across the middle of the field, over the top. Brock Bowers is one of the more elite tight ends that we've seen. And it's just head-scratching the way that Las Vegas has used him. Dealt with some injuries, I get that. But also, like, Michael Myers isn't the guy. And now he's hurt. Myers going to be out this week. It's just Bowers because Myers got some easy throws underneath from Geno to take some of those away from Bowers. So I think it's all Bowers today. We're playing him over 5.5 receptions, and we'll also play him over 56.5 receiving yards. Now, the next play. Gabe Davis, 25-plus receiving yards, plus 145. It's crazy the career that this guy's had when you think about that AFC Championship game in Kansas City, how good he was then, and then just kind of bouncing around the league and not really doing much. All of a sudden, he's back in Buffalo, and they're going to need him today against the Steelers passing defense that hasn't been great. Look at what happened last week. He was on the practice squad. They call him up. Not even sure how many snaps he'll get. He outsnaps everybody but Shakir at the wide receiver position. They've made it known. You add Brandon Cooks. They don't like their wide receiver room. Gabe Davis, this is a guy that wasn't doing much at all. Gabe Davis got more snaps than Jordan Palmer or Josh Palmer, all of those guys in that room. And then Keon Coleman, he's still showing up late to meetings. Gabe Davis is a guy that Josh Allen trusts. He can hit the big play. And we saw that last week a little bit on that Thursday night. Now you're giving him an extra week and some more days to prepare with this team. They signed him to the active roster. I really think this is going to be a strong showing for Gabe Davis. But we don't even need that with 25 plus receiving yards. A guy that's done it in just one catch. I think he has 3 to 4 catches, 25 plus receiving yards at plus 145. Way too good for me to pass on. Next play. We're going 49ers versus Browns. I could have thrown this in 4th and long because it's one of those odd plays. 49ers and Browns over 58.5 rushing attempts minus 110. Bet 365
That's a bet
is the only
365
place.
special. Yeah.
Yes, I was about to say. It's the like, and I don't know why other books don't have this because it's cool. I like this. I think ESPN Bet used to have it. But no, I like this play a lot. Over 58.5 rushing attempts. I am buying this weather a ton. I think it's serious. Yesterday we saw the heavy snow. As soon as, up to the episode starting, I don't think it was snowing then, but there's going to be some sleet involved during kickoff and during the game. There's going to be a lot of running attempts. We already know San Francisco and how much they use McCaffrey. I know there's some throws there, but also Brian Robinson comes in, gets a lot of carries, does things on the ground. They're going to be running the football heavy against this Cleveland team, who, as good as they are against a run, if you have Purdy dropping back 30 plus times in the freezing cold and the sleet, that is not a recipe to winning a game where you're a 5.5 point favorite and a lot of money's coming in on Cleveland. I think it's going to be a heavy run dose of them, McCaffrey, letting those guys make plays. And I think this honestly could be like a 9-6 type of game. Ugly football, a lot of carries. And then you look at the Browns. Shedeur Sanders, awesome game last week. They won. He threw 20 passes. It wasn't like it was a weird game against Vegas, whose pass defense blows, by the way. But it was just a weird game. He wasn't throwing the football a ton. Here, I think it's going to be a lot of Judkins. You can filter Sampson in there. Ford, there's all those types of backs they have. And I think it's going to be a lot of ground game. So I was thinking of playing Judkins over his regular carries. But instead, I just looked at the game, looked at the matchup, and figured if this weather is as bad as they're saying, and as bad as the videos that I'm watching look, and on top of all of the sleet and rain, all of that wind, you're going to be chucking the football around. Stefanski's made it clear that he doesn't fully trust Shedeur Sanders, and that was before he even started taking over. So the Browns should be running the football a lot, and in some of these games, an ugly run can turn into a big one with guys slipping, things like that. So I do think it'll be a lot of carries, over 58.5 rushing attempts. 2 more plays. I know I'm giving you guys a lot, but I just like a lot of the play.
Dude, you're up 50 freaking units. They shouldn't be complaining. They're getting too much Beltway Ben. Better you than me.
No, but I like Judkins over 1.5 receptions at plus 168. There was a lot of value here in a game where I said it's going to be ugly. He hasn't caught a ton of passes lately. I get that. He hasn't even run many routes. They usually filter Sampson in. But when I was researching, there wasn't a Sampson prop, and I wasn't that interested in it because Judkins will have to stay involved. Now, both teams are going to be teeing off on the run, and I don't think that'll change our last prop. But at some point, you got to figure it out, and they don't want Shedeur throwing it 40 yards down the field in these weather conditions. Now, if they were in the dome like last week, as you mentioned earlier, we saw that passing game start to open. It's the best the passing game has looked all damn year. But in this rain and sleet and the ugly weather, it should be Judkins on a couple of play passes, roll him to the other side and get him the football on those, some screens Judkins' way. And he's cleared this before. I think with the weather conditions, plus 168 for our RB1, and they want to keep him getting touches, is too good for me to pass on. And we don't have it up here, but I did write it down in my notes that I always have. I do want to play Brian Thomas Jr. over 48.5 receiving yards at minus 110 in his return. I don't like going to I don't like going to injured guys at all. I'll be honest. Like coming back from injury, because you never know what to expect. Could they re-injure it? What's going on? And then on top of all of that, we have Brian Thomas Jr., who's been awful this season. Now you have guys banged up. Last time he was playing, Travis Hunter was active. This is a guy that's going to have to catch the football, and I think they're going to be airing it out a little bit today against the Titans' passing defense that's been up and down, and they've dealt with their own injuries. So it should be a strong day for Brian Thomas Jr., over 48.5 receiving yards. I don't know that we'll be getting a number this low. I know it was like that earlier in the year. I expect him to kind of pick it up towards the end of the sophomore season. Brian Thomas Jr., over 48.5 receiving yards.
Love it. I was putting together a little parlay with a $20 bonus bet on this Browns game, and that Judkins is juicy, so I added that in there.
Yeah, I just like with the weather. I don't know. Wouldn't it make sense?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And also, you could see Shador checking out of a run play, like just because he's Shador, and then realizing I better get rid of this ball.
Right.
But look, San Francisco, and especially now, if you're telling me it's bad traction, San Francisco's sack rate, San Francisco's pressure rate is abysmal. I mean, they got 13 sacks all year and only like 3 interceptions. Like, I actually think Shador, if he can just like bring down his body clock a little bit, like slow his heart rate a little bit, I think the dink and dunks are going to be there for him. Cleveland is look, even before this forecast, Cleveland was live for me to win this game. Like, I've got money in a bunch of different ways on Cleveland, on alt lines, and also Cleveland money line. Like, I think this is a tricky little spot for San Francisco. Short week, shaky quarterback who's looking over his shoulder. So that's everything. That's our show. Tomorrow we do the normal right after Bet Sweats. Do it like 10:15 or something like that. Is that
we'll shoot for 10:15.
10:15 tomorrow. We appreciate you guys tuning in. We got a lot of Premiership Tuesday and Wednesday. Again, the holiday season, the Premiership, we start to get a lot more midweek games. The Bundesliga is about to go on Christmas break, but we got plenty of soccer we like this week. Did you see we've got Beltway Ben? We've got a full-blown Big Ten game this week. Iowa at Sparty.
Yeah,
midweek.
The Big Ten.
How about that?
A few years back, remember they changed that thing where you now play 2 in December for whatever. The Big Ten's weird, but I do like it. It's exciting. It's exciting.
Yeah. So I like the data when you've got conference play. I do a lot more volume in college basketball once we get into conference play.
Real quick. The Hoops HQ article, we're 1-1. We have our last play. Again, tap into our Hoops HQ articles that we put out. So I give out the over in the Akron game yesterday, which cashed no sweat. I also give out the under in the Montana State-Utah State game. And I was on the edge of giving out Montana State to cover. They already did it against Boise State team. I was like, I kind of like them. They're plus 19.5. I instead give out the under. Cash by 10 points if the game ends. Goes to overtime. We end up losing. So it was the overtimes in college basketball kill you. It sucked.
It's funny you mentioned Boise State because I just followed a Hoops HQ column looking at one game a week, a trend to watch in every game. Boise State goes to Butler next Friday or Saturday. They're gonna have to set that. They're gonna have to set that pretty high for me not to be on our Butler Bulldogs. And we laid off Houston Christian yesterday. I didn't love that spot, and they got blown out by Georgia. I think it was Georgia Southern or Western Georgia or somebody Georgia. I laid off them. I'm like, ooh, that I don't think they're catching nearly enough points. They lost by like 20.
That's a true Hall of Fame team. I think they're really making their way in because that's when you know not to bet them. Like, I don't really like them.
Yes, right.
That's a.
You got to know when to hold.
They're on a good.
When to fall, know when to walk away. Know when to pray. Sometimes we pray with our Houston Christian Cougars. Sometimes we stay away. Saturday was a stay away spot. All right, that's our show. Hey, we wish everybody good luck today. I really hope this is a better Sunday for me than the others have been. But I tell you straight up, haven't been great on Sunday. So you want to fade me, you want to stay away. I understand. All we really want here is for you guys to make money. So you want to bet, we want to bet. Thank you for betting with us. We'll see you at 10:15 tomorrow.